Okay, looks like we're ready to go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the September 3rd, 2025 City Planning Commission meeting. Football is finally back in session, so I'm excited about that. We do have a new commissioner starting today, Tom, and I'm sorry, I didn't get your last name.
Todd Forbes.
Todd Forbes. Okay. He's out of the first district. Is that correct? Yeah. So he's now our 8th commissioner, which we're happy to have him here. Commissioners look forward to hearing your case today. As we understand, every project is important and unique. In addition, we want to make sure we address all of the docketed items individually with the attention they need to build consensus between the applicant, public, and city staff. Our meeting will follow the advertised docket, and we will hear the cases in the order they're listed, beginning with the consent agenda, followed by the regular docketed items. The commissioners believe we can reach consensus by being brief yet heard. Because our meeting is virtual and recorded, we have time limits for the cases we hear, which is 5 minutes for staff presentations and 20 minutes for the applicant, plus any questions by the commissioners. When we move to public comment, we will call on those who have joined us in person first, followed by those who have joined us virtually. Public comments are limited to 2 minutes when speaking as an individual, or up to 5 minutes when representing a community association or a larger group. Please be brief and limit repetitive comments. Those of you who are joining us virtually, please be ready to go when it is your turn to speak by having your camera turned on and your screen name correctly displayed. This helps us make sure that we get your testimony for the record. As we get started, I ask staff to provide any additional ground rules and instructions as we conduct this meeting. So, Sarah, can you remind us of those, please?
Yes, good morning. I will describe the testimony procedures for our hybrid meeting today. First, for those joining us online, please know that there are 2 categories of people participating in the meeting, attendees and panelists. Right now, the only panelists are the commission members and city staff. If you are an applicant or a member of the public who would like to testify regarding a case, please use the raise hand function when the case is announced to let staff know you would like to speak. There is a ribbon at the bottom of your Zoom screen with a hand icon. Please click this to raise your hand to request to speak on a case. You will need to accept a promotion to panelist in order to speak. It may appear temporarily as if you have been disconnected, but don't panic, you will reconnect shortly. If you are calling in on a phone line, your screen name appears as your phone number. You can raise your hand to speak when the case is called by pressing star followed by the number 9. When you are promoted to panelist, the chair would like for you to turn on your camera so that the commission can see you when it is your time to speak. Your microphone needs to always be on mute unless you are giving testimony at the appropriate time. When you are called upon, you will be able to share your screen to display exhibits. The chat box is only for questions about the agenda. The merits of each case should not be discussed in the chat box. For everyone joining us today in person, applicants may be seated at the center desk when the case is called. Members of the public who would like to speak may approach the microphone on the podium when the chair calls for public testimony. If you are here in person, there is no need for you to be on the Zoom meeting as well. Joining the meeting in both manners causes a lot of unnecessary feedback and audio disruptions. Please keep your devices on silent or mute and be quiet when entering and exiting the hearing room. The commission has established time limits for all testimony during the meeting. You will be given 2 minutes to testify when speaking as an individual, or 5 minutes if you represent an organization such as a neighborhood association, HOA, CID, or business association. Those are all of our procedures.
Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and start with the consent agenda items. I think there's one that wants to be continued.
Yes, there is one to be continued. That's item C3. This is a change from the published docket. Case CD CPC 2025-87, a request to approve an MPD final plan for a drive-through restaurant in District MPD on about 1.37 acres, generally located at 9820 North Oak Traffic Way. The applicant requests a continuance with fee to October 1st.
Okay, let's go ahead and open the other 2 up and just do one motion for the 3.
Sure. Item C1 is case CD CPC 2025-126, a request to approve a project plan in District R 1.5 on about 0.7 acres, generally located at the southwest corner of Northeast 87th Street and North Indiana Avenue, allowing for the creation of a pool and clubhouse. Staff recommends approval with conditions. And item C2 is case CD CPC 2025-117, a request to approve a project plan in Districts B2-2 and R6 for private open space on about 14 acres generally located at North Jefferson Street and Northwest Cookingham Drive. Staff recommends approval without conditions.
Okay, any questions from the commissioners regarding docket items C1, C2, or the continuance of docket item C3? Okay, so let's go ahead and open it up for public testimony. If there's anybody out there that would like to speak regarding docket items C1, C2, or the continuance of C3, please come forward or raise your hand using the Zoom feature and you'll be called upon.
There are no hands raised online.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close public testimony then, and I'll take a motion, please.
Chair Corral, I move to approve docket items C1 and C2 and to continue docket item C3 to October 1st with fee.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second for approval of C1, C2, and continuance of C3.
Arkin,
Aye.
Beasley,
Aye.
Crowell,
Aye.
Enders,
Aye.
Forbes,
Aye.
Hasek,
Aye.
Lynch,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
All right, looks like the motion passes then. All right, let's move on to our regular agenda items, beginning with the cases that we're looking to continue to a future date.
Docket item number 6 is case CD CPC 2025-99, a request to approve a major amendment to a previously approved MPD for lots 3 and 4 in District MPD on about 2.8 acres generally located at 9790 and 9806 North Oak Trafficway. Staff recommends continuance without fee to September 17th. Docket item number 10 is case CD CPC 2025-78. Amendments to Chapter 88, the Zoning and Development Code, by amending the use tables in sections 88-120, 88-130, 88-140, adding section 88-353 to establish standards for large format uses, and adding section 88-339 to establish applicable standards for data centers, and amending section 88-800 to establish definitions for the proposed amendments to the Zoning and Development Code. Staff recommends continuance without fee to October 1st. Docket item number 11 is case CD SUP 2025-18, a request to approve a special use permit in District R6 on about 0.125 acres, generally located at 4843 Woodland, to allow for neighborhood serving retail in an existing building. Staff recommends continuance off docket without fee. Docket item number 12 is case CD CPC 2025-111, a request to approve a de-annexation of approximately 4.5 acres generally located at the northwest corner of Northeast 104th Street and North Church Road from the corporate limits of the City of Kansas City, Missouri, to permit subsequent annexation by the City of Liberty, Missouri. Staff recommends continuance without fee to September 17th. Docket item number 13 is case CD CPC 2025-101. A request to approve a rezoning from District MPD to District O on about 12 acres generally located at the northwest corner of Northwest 88th Street and North Baltimore Avenue, north of Metro North Drive. Staff recommends continuance with fee to September 17th. Docket item number 14 is case CD CPC 2025-125, a request to approve an MPD final plan to allow for a residential development with 39 buildings and a total of 174 units on about 17.24 acres, generally located at the southeast corner of Holmes Road and East 115th Street. Staff recommends continuance with fee to September 17th.
That's a lot. Okay, thank you. So any questions from the commissioners regarding continuance of docket items 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, or 14? All right, let's open it up for public testimony then. Anybody out there that would like to discuss the continuance of docket items 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, or 14, please come forward or raise your hand using the Zoom feature and you'll be called upon.
There are no hands raised online.
Okay, we'll close public testimony then, and I'll take a motion, please.
Chair Corral, I move to continue docket items 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 as read by staff and as stated in the docket.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for continuance of those docketed items. So Sarah, can you take roll call, please?
Arkin,
Aye.
Beasley,
Aye.
Crowell,
Aye.
Enders,
Aye.
Forbes,
Aye.
Hasek,
Aye.
Lynch,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
All right, looks like that motion passes then. All right, so let's move on to docket item number 1, and I get to recuse myself from that one.
Docket item number 1 is case CD CPC 2025-91, A request to approve a rezoning from R 2.5 to B1-1 to expand fencing regulations applied to the subject site on about 10.98 acres generally located at 8625 Troost Avenue B. Yep, online. I don't see his name. I don't have a Chris. Well,
I'm okay proceeding.
you're okay proceeding? Okay.
Okay. Good morning. On Ananiski, as previously mentioned, this is case CD CPC 2025-91, and the applicant is seeking approval to rezone the subject property from a residential zoning district to B1-1 to expand fencing regulations applicable to the subject site. So the property is located in the southern portion of Kansas City, Missouri. More specifically, it is along Troost Avenue near the intersection of East 87th Street. Center High School is also in this area, and you can see the Evergy substation highlighted in yellow on my screen. And then this is a look at the substation from Google Street View. So it is an existing substation. And this is a little site plan, a little diagram of their proposal. So I have highlighted in orange the 7-foot fence with the barbed wire that they wish to install on the site. So I'm going to go over some fencing regulations, and all of this is applicable to the rezoning request. I promise, just bear with me. So zoning regulations, fencing regulations for our zoned properties, those live within Chapter 27 of the Code of Ordinances, where it states that no fence over 6 feet tall may be erected on a residential lot. And then in the nuisance portion of the Code of Ordinances, it says that any barbed wire fence for an R-zoned property is considered a nuisance. For commercial zone properties, so for B-zoned properties, Chapter 88 is a little bit more flexible. It basically is just limiting certain properties that have fences, setbacks. But mostly commercial districts can have tall fences, can have fences over 6 feet. There are some fencing regulations for specific situations, like if it's along a boulevard or if it's for outdoor warehousing or something like that. The nuisance part of the code also discusses barbed wire fences as associated with B-zoned properties, but those are only considered a nuisance when the fence is less than 6 feet tall. So some more context for why this case is before you guys today. I've had lots of email correspondence with the folks at Evergy, and they've got several substations that they're wanting to make upgrades on, expansions on. So there's like a long list of things like, hey, can we do this? Can we do this? Do this? And in that conversation, it came out that they wish to upgrade the fence at this particular site, 7 feet tall with barbed wire, where I informed them that since it's residentially zoned, it could not be over 6 feet tall, and it could not have the barbed wire fence. A special exception through the Board of Zoning Adjustment is possible, but only for the height portion of that request. The BZA could not approve the barbed wire since it lives outside of 27 or 88. And I'm under the impression that there is not a method of relief from that section of code, from the nuisance code. So they asked me, well, what can be done? Due process wise, they could rezone their property to expand these types of these types of fencing regulations, on the subject site. So yes, an unusual request, but this is the due process to accomplish their goals. So now I'm going to go, and they chose to pursue that. So now here we are. So here's the review criteria associated with the rezoning. We're going to talk about the three that have influenced city staff's decision. So first being A, you'll see some information in the staff report which addresses how this request is not in compliance with the area plan. The community planner, they address how, yes, the use is staying the same, but the rezoning would allow for the new fence to be installed. Ideally, new fences would, screen or enhance the visual aesthetic along the corridor, and a chain link fence with barbed wire doesn't necessarily do that. The community planner suggested that to increase that alignment, that they would install more of a decorative fence or a wall with increased landscaping, but they're pursuing even though it's not required because it's just a rezoning, they're choosing to still pursue the chain link and the barbed wire. We've got review criteria E, which talks about how the property is restricted underneath existing zoning regulations. So as I mentioned before, the use is allowed to remain as a utility within this R district. It's just the fencing that's being controlled here. So there is an existing chain link fence with barbed wire on it right now. So it's currently not compliant. All future fences, of course, must comply with the municipal code. And now I'm going to kind of group G and H together, which talks about if the rezoning will detrimentally affect the nearby properties, or the gain or detriment to the public, due to the approval or denial of this rezoning versus like the hardship imposed on the landowner. So from a land use or zoning perspective, there's nothing inherently wrong with this site being zoned B1-1. That is one of the most less intensive commercial zoning districts. So it's not like we're rezoning the property to something more intense just so they can have a fence, and that would open up this type of area for maybe an unfavorable use to be like near the school or along this corridor. B1-1, as I mentioned before, is one of the more less intensive commercial uses. So we don't think it will detrimentally affect the nearby properties. Any new construction or aesthetics, including that of fences, can affect the neighborhood, but this is for a utility company protecting its assets. If the proposed rezoning is denied, the property owner would not be able to install the fence that they desire, and they would need to reconstruct the existing fence or seek some sort of special exception for the height. But again, no special exception for the barbed wire. Thus, city staff is recommending approval. And that concludes my staff report. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Anna. Any questions for staff?
I actually have a question. Are they amenable to changing the design of the fence, making it more appealing?
They're able to.
They are, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, your question was, are they?
If they would go ahead and make the fence more decorative, appealing for the neighborhood and surrounding areas?
There's no design regulations associated with this property, so they can install a wood fence or a chain link fence or a wrought iron fence. That is up to their discretion.
Okay. Thank you.
Does the code differentiate between barbed wire coil versus strands?
No, I don't think so.
All right, if there are no further questions for staff, then we'll welcome the applicant. I think the applicant is here in the back.
Yeah, do you want me to pull it up? Okay. You can sit down. I have to share the screen though.
And then if you'll just pull the microphone to you so that way people online can hear the presentation as well.
All right. My name is Tyler Burton. I'm a permitting and compliance analyst with Evergy, and I handle all the substation projects throughout our service territory, Kansas, Missouri. So anything to do with a substation, I'm going to be the one involved with it. So I do have a presentation here for you guys regarding this project. We are proposing to rezone. We're proposing to rezone our site to B1-1 to allow us to put in what we call a mesh fence with 3 strands of barbed wire for a total of 8 feet tall. Current zoning, as C had mentioned, current zoning does not allow us to use barbed wire there. So due to some internal upgrades in the site, we are looking to change that fencing out. As you can see on this slide here, we do have a mix of commercial, industrial, and residential uses around our site. And then here's our site plan. As you'll see in the southwest and northwest corner, where the gray shaded area is, that's going to be some internal site work done to our substation, which is the reason we need to change this fence out. In the southwest corner, we're going to do some grading. It's a pretty steep drop off, so we'll have to pull out our fence to do some grading, and want to go back in with a fence that actually matches and is acceptable. On this slide here, you can see some neighboring properties we have around our substation. You have, as you can see in the pictures, you do have some locations with some chain link fences, no barbed wire specifically, but some chain link fences. So our substation does kind of match the character of the neighborhood that's currently there. Here are a few renderings of our substation. In the top left, you can see the existing view of the substation. In the bottom right, you'll see what our proposed view would be. We do have to remove some trees due to some of our lines that are coming through that area. Vegetation obviously can't grow under any kind of lines for security reasons and safety hazards. Here is another view of our existing and proposed substation. Again, vegetation in the top left, with our proposed view in the bottom right. And then one final view of the substation as well. So to touch a little bit more on the reason why we're proposing the mesh versus any other kind of fencing, we do have a slide here. So one of our main reasons is enhanced safety and security. Our 7-foot tall mesh fence is 3/8 mesh, so it's similar to a chain link fence, but it's really tightly woven. Provides a little bit more screening, makes it much tougher to try to scale the fence if someone were to try to, as well as the barbed wire on top does provide safety and security for us, so no one can try to get into the substation. It also allows, if there is anything going on in the substation, it allows our Evergy personnel or even emergency responders to assess the situation from the outside to make sure nothing's critical happening to anyone inside that might be in the substation. And then also we do use these fences. They do discourage vandalism. We have some other substations around the city that have had vandalism happen to them, specifically with precast walls or more decorative walls. They get vandalized real fast and quite often. And so we have to go out and clean them. And, obviously vandalism, no one wants that. It doesn't look great for the city. So that's another reason why we're recommending or proposing the security mesh fencing instead of a precast wall. You guys have any questions for me?
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? All right, seeing none, we will open it up for public testimony.
We have no hands raised online.
Great. If there's no public testimony, we'll go ahead and close public testimony. And if there are no further questions or comments, I'll take a motion.
Going to go ahead and make a motion then to approve docket item number 1 without conditions.
Second.
Doc, it's been motioned and seconded to approve docket item number 1 without conditions. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Docket item 1 passes. Thank you.
Thanks.
I think we'll go ahead and open up 2, and I'll go grab Kobe.
Okay, thank you. Docket item number 2 is case CD CPC 2025-109, a request to approve a rezoning from District R6 to District R1.5 on about 0.15 acres generally located 150 feet north of the intersection of West 36th Street and Baltimore Avenue. I'm promoting Greg Franzen to panelist.
The applicant available
They're on.
online? Okay.
All right, good morning. Larissa Chambi presenting on behalf of Justin Smith. And let me see. Okay, this is CPC 2025-00109, and this is for the Hedge Path rezoning project. As you can see, this is the subject site located in the Old Hyde Park neighborhood. Looking closer at the site, you can see that the highlighted parcel is zoned R-6 and that the surrounding parcels are at R-1.5. The subject property is requesting a rezoning from R-6 to R-1.5. So some history on the project. There was an existing structure on the property. The structure did catch fire on March 30th of this year, and it does require a full interior remodel. Staff found a variance application to allow for a third unit in this house from 1980. However, staff was unable to find any records that show if the variance request was heard, approved, or denied. And so this is the only record that we have. So just some more on the site, an R-6 zoning district only allows for duplexes on corner lots. And of course, this is not a corner lot. So the rezoning to an R-1.5 would allow for the additional unit in this structure, and it would match the zoning to the southeast, to the south and the east, and a portion of the west as well. Since we do not have that approval from the BZA from the 1980s, there isn't enough evidence for a certificate of legal nonconforming use. And so the applicant has chosen to move forward with this rezoning to an R-1.5. And there are houses on the block already that have that certificate of legal nonconforming use. And then I have some street views to show you just the higher densities that we see in this area. And so here's a view looking south on Baltimore Avenue, and then a view looking north on Baltimore showing the higher densities. And so with that, staff is recommending approval without conditions. The applicant is proposing to keep the exterior of the house as similar as possible, and it will match the surrounding area. So I can answer any questions if you have them.
Hey, any questions?
Yeah, so it's been, it's completely burned down?
Just the interior, the structure itself remains. And it was previously used for a 3-unit house. We just don't have any evidence that it was legally approved to be
Gotcha.
used as a 3-unit house.
Is there adequate parking for the 3 units? Is there space for that, or they park on the street?
I'll defer to the applicant on that one.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission?
Were there any concerns raised during the public engagement meeting?
I don't believe so, but I can also have the applicant respond to that.
So just to clarify, he does want a 3-unit, not a duplex?
Correct. He wants a 3-unit.
Okay, we'll wait for the applicant. Thank you.
Okay, let's welcome the applicant then.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the commission. This is Greg Franzen with FPNC Consultants representing the owner, Del Hedgepath, who's also on with us this morning as well. Yes, the fire was actually limited to just the top story, but the owner intends to do a complete remodel to bring it up into more modern conditions. But as indicated, I think the staff report did a great job of explaining the history and the consistency of this rezoning with the immediately adjacent property. As indicated, all indications are that all the conversion work was done in the 1980s, but just apparently, unless there's a lack of record somewhere, that the prior owner didn't follow through with that BZA application to get that finally approved. But there were records that show that it was ultimately approved as a duplex, but just not as a triplex. And to answer the prior question, yes, there is existing parking in the rear of the building sufficient for the 3 units. And the owner, I can answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the commission?
Just the one question I had, was there any concerns raised during the public engagement meeting?
My understanding, no. Mr. Hedgepath, was that your understanding as well?
I have a hand raised for iPhone that I can promote to panelists.
Yeah, we don't know who that is.
No.
I believe that should be Mr. Hedgepath. He said he was on. But again, my understanding, there were no concerns. There were only two people who accepted the invitation and attended, and there were no remarks on their sign-in.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the commission? Let's go ahead and open it up for public testimony then. If there's anybody out there that would like to speak regarding docket item number 2, please raise your hand or come forward and we'll call upon you. You want to call on iPhone now?
I mean, iPhone is,
That was hand raised.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything.
Not saying anything?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I apologize. Yeah, this is the applicant, Dale Hedgepath, and yeah, I agree with everything Greg has testified to, and I've owned the property for roughly 30 years, and lo and behold, we had a fire. Just want to rebuild it and keep it as the triplex that it's been for, I think, about 50 years.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anybody else?
We have no other hands raised online.
Okay, we'll close public testimony then. Anything else from the applicant's standpoint they'd like to mention?
I would just add the property is in a historic zone, so of course all the exterior will I think the intent is to remain, but of course it would need to be any exterior work would need to be approved by the historic commission, but so it will retain its existing nature.
Okay. All right, thank you. With that, we'll close testimony and speak amongst the commission. If there's nothing to discuss, I'll take a motion, please.
Chair Corral, I move to recommend approval of docket item number 2 without conditions.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second for approval of docket item number 2. Sarah, can you take roll call on that motion, please?
Merkin,
Aye.
Beasley,
Aye.
Crowell,
Aye.
Enders,
Aye.
Forbes,
Aye.
Hasek,
Aye.
Lynch,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
All right, looks like the motion passes then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thanks a lot.
Yep. All right, let's move on to docket item 3, please.
Docket item number 3 is case CD ROW 2025-21, a request to approve a vacation of public right-of-way in District DX 15 of about 1,168 square feet, generally located at the northeast corner of Baltimore Avenue and West 20th Street. If you are the applicant and you're online, if you would please raise your hand. You
Yeah,
can
come
come
on
and
up
be
if you
seated
don't
at the
mind.
desk.
Good morning, Matthew Barnes here, presenting on behalf of Justin Smith for the vacation of right-of-way for Crossroads Cantina, case number CDs ROW 2025-00021. Maybe. As the name implies, this is in the Crossroads, District 4, as shown on the arrow there. Here's a closer view yet. It is at Baltimore and 20th Street. It is highlighted there in yellow, the area that they are requesting to vacate. So they are requesting a 1,100 square foot right-of-way to be vacated. There are public utilities with this right-of-way, such as streetlights, and then private utilities include Everfast Fiber, AT&T, Evergy, Google Fiber, Lumen, and Spectrum Charter. Here's just kind of a view of what they are looking to vacate. You can see it's really currently part of their parking lot. The applicant is proposing to renovate this building and utilize the space for, I believe, ADA access and their entrance. as their entrance is kind of on this side here. They are not proposing to vacate any of the improved sidewalk. If you're familiar with this, there is a fairly large sidewalk here, and then a swale, and then another sidewalk on this side before you go to the parking along 20th Street there. This is kind of a proposed rendering of the building, and there is that access there on the south side of the building. With that, staff recommends approval subject to conditions, and we can take any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the commissioners? I'm just kind of curious. I mean, 20th Street is extremely wide right away. And I would imagine as this one would set precedents for several others. Is there something that we can work with Public Works to maybe right size the right of way along 20th Street by chance? Or just at least bring it up at some point?
Yeah, I know we had discussions with the city engineer about a few sites along here, just from different applicants. So there is a city-initiated vacation process, but we haven't discussed that, but it could be something. that we-
Okay, so at least it's being talked about through the ranks somewhere.
Nick Bassonetta, the city engineer, is online if you'd like to hear from him about that.
Yeah, and I apologize to you guys. Just kind of curious
Oh,
about
no.
that.
We have two other properties on 20th Street. We're going to be going back for vacation right
Gotcha.
away too.
Is Mr. Bassonetto available?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, actually, we met with the property owners, the restaurant owners on a couple of different projects. 20th Street, for some reason, was a very wide right of way, and we did the sidewalk improvements with EPA grant. We actually have that final section near what is it? It's between Grand and McGee. So that final section will finally get that improvement. That's the last section that has that really wide right of way. We're going to put the sidewalks through there, BMPs. So yes, we're working with the property owners to give excess right of way back. We really don't need it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, any other questions for city staff? All right, let's welcome the applicant then. Good morning.
Good morning, Brett Springs, and
I'm Zach Martin. Thanks for having us here. Pretty straightforward situation. We're developing a restaurant there right now. It's under construction, and we bought the building a few years ago, and as noted, that area was part of our parking lot anyway, and we just need to do the formal right-of-way vacation to get it. And also, as noted, from ingress egress, our front door will be south facing towards 20th Street, and that will allow for us to have better ADA compliance.
And as Cody, you mentioned, there's a ton of concrete there already. We are removing a large scale of that concrete to create some landscape buffers between 20th Street and the restaurant, so it's more appealing for the community as well as our customers.
Gotcha. Okay. Are you at liberty to say what restaurant's going to be there, what the name is, or?
It's going to be called Crossroads Cantina.
Okay.
Just a small Mexican restaurant with, with a relatively large outdoor patio.
Okay, good. Any other questions for the applicant?
I just need some clarification, because there was a list of utilities that are in that area.
We have sent all of our consent forms in with how we're planning the landscape buffer, especially with all the not the energy companies, but all the telecom companies. It will actually be easier for them to access because we're putting back crushed granite or landscaping dirt, with the exception of an ingress egress sidewalk to get into the building, which is one of them's 40 inches wide and the other is about 5 feet wide. So there will be easier access for them to dig.
I think the key that I just heard you mention is you're removing the concrete that's there and replacing with a type of gravel.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
And we'll obviously go through and get the utility easements. That's the exceptions that we're having to do. So.
All right, very good. Any other questions from the commission? Mr. Enders, I just noticed that our company did the surveying on this. Sign recuse this one and this one as well.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries. We'll go ahead and open it up for public testimony.
We have no hands raised online.
Great. If there's no public testimony and no further questions or comments, I'll take a motion.
I'll just say before I make a motion, I'm excited to see the project be completed. With that, I'm going to go ahead and move to approve docket item number 3 with conditions stated.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve docket item number 3 with conditions stated. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Docket item number 3 passes. Thanks.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
All right, sorry about that. All right, let's move on to docket item number 4, please.
Docket item number 4 is case CD CPC 2025-113, a request to approve a rezoning from UR to B3-2 on about 0.2 acres, generally located 200 feet south of the intersection of West 39th Terrace and Broadway Boulevard.
All right, good morning again.
If you are the applicant and you are online, please raise your hand, or you can be seated at the center desk.
All right. As was previously stated, this is CPC 2025-00113, rezoning from District UR to District B3-2. This is the subject site. It's located just outside the boundaries of the Westport area. And then just an overview of the site. You can see the subject property highlighted in yellow is currently developed with an existing building. This entire block that's bounded by 39th Terrace on the north, West 40th on the south, Central on the east, and Broadway on the west is all zoned UR. And then the properties to the west are zoned B3-2. This subject property was rezoned to UR back in 2012, and this building in particular was given the use of medical office, and so with that, they can only have a medical office on that property. The subject property is listed for sale, and so with that one use of a medical office, they can only sell to someone who would like to open up a medical office. The applicant is seeking to rezone to the base zoning district of B3-2. It will match the surrounding areas except for that block, which is within the UR. And then we'll have uses that are allowed within the B3 district, and those include uses that require entitlement with a special use permit. And then this is just a view looking north on Broadway Boulevard. And then here's a view looking south on Broadway Boulevard with the commercial uses surrounding the area. With that, staff is recommending approval without conditions, and I can answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the commission to city staff? All right, Commissioner Lynch, anything?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, let's welcome the applicant then. Good morning.
Good morning. Nate Prather with Opus Commercial Real Estate.
Joe Saida, the owner.
Okay. Anything you'd like to present besides the staff report on behalf of your project?
We've had this building listed for lease and for sale just about a year now. And unfortunately, we've caught a few good potentials, but nothing solid. The only medical use throws a wrench in all that. So we're trying to open it up to, I guess, a larger pool of users, and B3-2 zoning will do that.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
No.
Okay. Any questions from the commission to the applicant then? Commissioner Lynch, anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's open it up for public testimony then. If there's anybody out there that would like to speak regarding docket item 4, please come forward or raise your hand using the Zoom feature and you'll be called upon.
We have no hands raised online.
All right, we'll close public testimony then. Anything else at this time? All right,
I
go
do have
ahead.
a quick question. Is there dedicated parking already with this building?
Yes, there is. Actually, there's an easement, the parking lot right next to it is an easement between the two buildings. So there is 24 parking spaces there.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll close testimony and I'll take a motion, please.
Chair Crowley, move to recommend approval for docket item number 4 without conditions.
Second.
Motion and a second for approval of docket item number 4. Sarah, can you take roll call on that motion, please?
Arkin,
Aye.
Beasley,
Aye.
Crowell,
Aye.
Enders,
Aye.
Forbes,
Aye.
Hasek,
Aye.
Lynch,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
All right, looks like the motion passes. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you,
luck
guys.
on solving it.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to docket item number 5, and notice that we have a quorum on this one already. So I think Mr. Enders and Mr. Forbes, you guys don't have to pay attention, or you can go to the back if you need.
Docket item number 5.1 is case CD CPC 2025-95, a request to approve a rezoning from District R7.5 to R80 on about 21 acres generally located at the southeast corner of Northeast 108th Street and Northeast Shoal Creek Parkway. Docket item 5.2 is case CD SUP 2025-27, a request to approve a special use permit in proposed District R80 on about 20 acres generally located on the south side of Northeast 108th Street, approximately 1,000 feet east of Northeast Shoal Creek Parkway, allowing for the creation of a sports field. Hold on just a moment.
Commissioner Lynch, can you mute, please? Thank you.
And docket item 5.3 is case CD CPC 2025-96, a request to approve a project plan which serves as a preliminary plat in current District R7.5 and proposed District R80 on about 116 acres generally located at the southeast corner of Northeast 108th Street and Northeast Shoal Creek Parkway, allowing for the creation of 41 residential lots. And as you noted, the required quorum is on the first case, the rezoning.
Yeah, do we want to bring the others back for the other two, or, I mean, it's kind of weird.
It is kind of weird.
Sorry. And I'm just talking about the, how we do the commissioners here.
Yeah, it is slightly unusual in that
Yeah.
you heard the first item 5.1 last week and continued it. So that is the required quorum. The other two could act on the other two cases if they would like.
What do you suggest, Counselor?
They're so related, I would just recommend just keep,
Keep the quorum. Okay.
I would define the case as the entire project here.
Ms. Forbes, you don't have to stay in this, so you might want to jump, just so there's no confusion, I guess.
Makes it easy.
Yep, thank you.
I'll be back.
All right.
Good morning, one last time, I believe. This is the Cuda Ridge development that we heard last CPC meeting. This is all 3 of their applications for your review. So again, just very quickly, this is the location of the subject site. This is the overall subject property. And then this is looking southeast from Northeast 108th Street. We'll start off with the rezoning just very quickly. The area highlighted in red is the portion that is proposed to be rezoned. It's about 21 acres, and the proposal is from an R-7.5 to a District R-80. I can go into details again, or I can keep moving forward. This rezoning is part of the overall project. So as you can see, the R-7.5 is a part of the project plan, and I'll go into more detail there, but that's just kind of an overview site plan. Again, just highlighting that project plan location. It does include that R80 parcel, but since we've seen that one, I just wanted to highlight the subdivision that's going in. This is the project plan. It's a proposed subdivision with approximately 41 units. It does have a required stream buffer mitigation and tree preservation plan, which I'll show here. The applicant did provide street trees in accordance with the zoning and development code. And then coming up with the special use permit, the area again highlighted in red is for that special use permit. The applicant is proposing a turf field. And as we had some discussion last meeting, the future building is proposed to be approximately 20,000 square feet. So it is fairly large. The use of that building will contain various sports courts, and I can let the applicant go into detail as to what they are. The use of this property will be it's private for the owner's personal use. This special use permit is only for this sports field. Should they want to come back when they're ready for this sports building, it'll require a major amendment to the special use permit. We have added a condition to the special use permit that states that they need to come back in 2 years so we can take a look at the effect, if there's any concerns from the neighbors. And at that time, they can also get that major amendment for the larger sports building in there as well. And the rezoning is required for the sports and recreation participant use. The applicant is not ready to place a residential structure on the property currently, and so that changes the use from residential to the sports and recreation participant. And so that's why you're seeing the special use permit along with that project plan. And so with that, staff is recommending approval for the rezoning. And then I do apologize, it's approval with conditions for both the special use permit and the project plan. And I can answer any questions if you have them.
Okay, any questions here from the commission? On these 3 cases. Commissioner Lynch, any questions for staff?
No, sir.
Okay, let's welcome the applicant then. Good morning.
Good morning.
I think from the last meeting, when we continued the special use permit, it was just probably understanding what the project is about, how it's going to be used and that kind of thing. So that's why they continued to get a better understanding of what you propose to do on this and how it'll be used and if it's going to be open up to other people and so on. So if you don't mind kind of going through the project, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I coach 3 Little League baseball teams. I have 3 sons, and I'm getting pulled in all different directions, even with flag football. I'm going to practices every night. So for me, this is really a way to make my life convenient. It's private in the sense that my boys' teams are going to be the only ones that are utilizing the facility. So it's more of a convenience-based project than anything. I could free up time with my life to do things that I enjoy doing with my family, as opposed to just running around from practice to practice.
So a lot of this, again, the rezoning is to allow the field there. You're going to have a future building, so to speak, that will be support to the field. And then is your home going to be on the same lot?
Yeah, eventually, yes.
Okay. And then the rest is being subdivided into an actual neighborhood.
Correct.
And that's what
Yeah.
5.2 and 5.3 are here today for the subdivision piece?
For the project plan.
For the project plan.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Any questions for the commissioners to the applicant regarding what they're proposing to do there?
I have a question for staff.
Go ahead.
So the rezoning from the 7.5 to the R80, if it's his personal use, is it, this is where I was having trouble with it last time. Is it required if they're just using it for personal and friends? Well, I don't see what is the point of that.
The R80 district is strictly residential, and right now, since there is no residence on the property, it's being used as just the sports and recreation. So that's why we're requiring the special use permit for that change in the use.
Does that open the door for it to be a rentable, usable by more than just the applicant?
It would, if the applicant chooses not to put a residential structure on it and just keep it as a sports and recreation participant use, But again, it would just be for the field. And then when they are ready to come in for any major amendments, any additions, that's when they would come in and we would review it for parking, just some elevations, lighting. We're just trying to make sure that any future changes are decided upon by the CPCM Board of Zoning Adjustment.
Okay.
So Clarissa, just to confirm what I thought I heard. If we do the special use, it does not require him to have parking to go with that field?
It would, but since it's just the field right now, we didn't look at the parking for just the field. When the bigger building comes in, we will look at the parking for it.
What kind of time frame are we looking at here?
Well, I would like to have the field done before spring baseball. I'm currently renting fields for fall ball. I mean, I'd like to have it completed by March 1.
Then the rest of the project?
Well, we'll have to come back for the building, so, you know, I'm in no hurry to do the building. I'm working with an architect right now on my house plans. I'd say we're probably 45 days from even, you know, completing our house plans for submittal. And I mean, I'm talking a year, 2 years down the road.
And the special use permit renewal is 2 years. So they'll be required to come back 2 years or before.
Where I mean, it seems like you have plenty of space. I'm assuming with the field, you'll probably have parking on some of those other areas of the lot. I mean, if you're going to have parents dropping kids off or staying or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, with the cul-de-sac, I mean, it's no different than if I have, you know, a baseball party at my house right now. I live in a cul-de-sac. I mean, they just park in the cul-de-sac or my driveway. I mean, I see this as them dropping them off. That's what they do typically, you know, for practice, and then they just come back and pick them up.
Okay.
So part of the plan is, did I remember 41 units?
Correct. And that's part of the project plan submittal.
What's the time frame on that?
I would say probably 2 years. Yep.
Any other questions? Commissioner Lynch, any questions for the applicant?
I don't have any. Thank you, though.
Okay. All right, anything else you'd like to add at this time before we go to public comment?
Oh, thanks.
All right, this time, let's open it up for any public comments. If you'd like to speak regarding docket items 5.1, 5.2, or 5.3, please come forward or raise your hand using the Zoom feature and you'll be called upon.
There are no hands raised online.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close public testimony then. I do want to go back to the, I think it's for 5.1. There's some questions in there that came in from the neighbors when you had your public meeting. The first bullet was concerns with location of the project, and so you answered that one. Wildlife, a second. We already talked about the timeline today, interested in layout of the site. I think you got that. Interested in rear setback. I think you've addressed that. I think you've addressed all of those items in there. Okay. Any other thoughts from your standpoint on this?
No, I mean, I think the important thing for everyone to understand is I'm going to be looking to sell these lots that are in the development to the east. And the reason that the neighbors were notified is because it currently goes 300 feet from the property line. Where this field's going to be, none of these neighbors will even be, you know, within that 300-foot buffer. And I'm not going to want to devalue the lots that I'm trying to sell that are east of the development. So I think it's important for everyone to understand that, you know, I'm not doing this to make money off sports and recreation. I'm doing it to develop lots and sell those. So, and have a nice neighborhood. So this is more for convenience, and it's not going to be like a high throughput facility with a ton of velocity going through there.
Yeah. All right. If there's nothing else, we'll close testimony and speak amongst the commission. If there's nothing to discuss, I'll take a motion. And Commissioner Beasley, looks like you're ready to say something.
Well, I was going to say, I appreciate them working with us and bringing all three of the projects together at once because we did have so many questions with just the rezoning request. So thank you for working with us and giving us more information on your complete concept for your project.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well said. Thank you.
With that, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve docket item 5.1 without conditions and 5.2 and 5.3 with conditions stated.
Second.
We got a motion and a second for approval of docket items 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3 with conditions attached to 2 and 3.
Yes.
Sarah, can you take roll call, please?
Arkin,
Aye.
Beasley,
Aye.
Crowell,
Aye.
Hasek,
Aye.
Lynch,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
All right, looks like the motion passes. Thank you.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
You too. All right, we've continued docket 6. Yeah, you'll go ahead and open up number 7.
Docket item 7.1 is case CD CPC 2025-119, a request to amend the Truman Plaza area plan from residential urban low density to neighborhood mixed use for the purpose of permitting a motor vehicle repair shop on about 0.11 acres generally located at 4250 St. John Avenue. And item 7.2 is case CD CPC 2025-118, a request to approve a rezoning from an R2.5 zoning district to B3-1 to permit a motor vehicle repair shop on about 0.11 acres, generally located at 4250 St. John Avenue.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. Good morning, Commission. My name is Stephanie. I'm in the Development Management Division. So I got docket item 7.1 and 7.2, CDCPC 2025-119 and 118 for an area plan amendment and a rezoning on 4250 St. John Avenue. So the subject site is located in the Indian Mound neighborhood, just south of Cliff Drive. And so this will be an area plan amendment from residential urban low density to mixed use neighborhood and a rezoning from R-2.5 to a B3-1. So highlighted in yellow is the subject site on the corner of St. John Avenue and Kensington Avenue. So this is from Google Street View, but this is what the site looks like from that corner of St. John's and Kensington. And this is the view from Kensington and the view from St. John's or St. John. So a bit of background on this case. So this site was originally a service station, which was defined as gas station and motor oil services. And this is from the 1983 zoning code. It received a CLNU for a service station back in 1982. And at some point after this CLNU was received, a previous owner illegally converted the site to motor vehicle repair service. And so this is a photo from the CLNU, which is attached to the staff report. But as you can see, this is the original building and the gas pumps. And if we go back here, you can see those gas pumps do not exist anymore. And there has been additions to that original building without permits. And then this is just the letter that was written about issuing that CLNU. And this is a photo I took of the 1983 zoning code with the definition of service stations. So for the review criteria, So everything highlighted in red does not comply with the review criteria. So for review criteria A, conformance with adopted plans and planning policies. So the rezoning does not match the future land use. Rezoning it would create spot zoning and a spot designation for that future land use. The zoning and use of nearby property. So the sites directly adjacent on north, east, south, and west are all residential. And then further west of this property, there is a B3 zoning, but all those uses are more retail or like grocery stores type uses. For review criteria C, physical character of the area in which the subject property is located. So again, the majority of the properties surrounding the subject site are zoned residential, are residential uses. For E, the sustainability of the subject property for the uses to which it has been restricted under existing zoning regulations. So, as I mentioned, since receiving the CLNU, the property was illegally converted by a previous owner to what it is today, to the motor vehicle repair services. This use is not permitted in an R-2.5 and has led to the revocation of the CLNU. The existing buildings and additions to the original building were constructed without permits. So, and then for criteria G, the extent to which approving the rezoning will detrimentally affect nearby properties. So if the rezoning is approved, any use permitted under a B3 zoning district will be allowed to operate in the site should the current owner decide to sell in the future. And so this can include drive-throughs as well. Sorry, one second. This can include drive-throughs, car wash, or an entertainment venue, which those can generate a lot more traffic. And staff did recommend rezoning to a B3-1, just to maintain a low floor area ratio should they decide to expand on the building. And then for criteria H, the gain, if any, to the public health, safety, and welfare due to the denial of the application, as compared to the hardship imposed upon the landowner, if any, as a result of the denial of the application. So approval of the rezoning would absolve the existing zoning violation this property has, but it would create spot zoning. If the rezoning is denied, the applicant would have to close down the business. And so this just shows the future land use area. So right now it's residential, urban, low density. So it's all pretty much all surrounded by the same future land use designation. And then a little bit to the west here is mixed use neighborhood. And that is the area that is zone B3. So it's about a block away, but none of these uses are as intense as this use. They're all, as I said, like grocery stores, cafes, retail, offices. So for CD CPC 2025-119 and 118, staff recommends denial. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay. Any questions from the commission regarding docket items 7.1 and 2?
Sorry, I think I'm going to have you repeat yourself on two items. One, so how did this come to you all? Was it through a violation?
So the previous owner sold this property to the applicants seated next to me. And they went to apply for zoning clearance, and that's when it was caught.
Okay. And when was that?
About a month or two ago.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Let's welcome the applicant then. Good morning.
Good morning. So my name is Nan. I'll be representing the applicant.
Okay.
So I am their former buyer's agent. So when this commercial property was advertised on the MLS, it was advertised as a business opportunity. And the owner has been there for like about 38 years. So it's always been like an auto repair shop. And so when they purchased it back in April, they found a tenant to lease the building. And when they tried to apply for a business license, that's when they found out that they violated the zoning code. The repair shop there, it's been an asset to the community, so we've never really heard of much complaint. So we're not asking, to like add anything new in there. It's always been that way, and we're just asking to keep it that way. And along the St. John's block, there's a lot of other nonprofits, other businesses going on. In the 5,000 blocks, there is like an auto shop there, like right next to the residential area. So it's kind of similar to this. And so, we don't really see anything that would, create any difficulty for the neighbors and stuff. And I also have like a letter from the neighborhood association. Can I go ahead and read it?
Sure.
Okay.
It's also attached on Compass KC if you want to follow along.
Is it in the,
Okay.
is it in the
part of our
staff?
packet?
Yeah, is it in the staff report or separate?
It's separate because it was submitted yesterday.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the letter, to whom it may concern, recently a longtime local auto repair business in the North Indian Mound neighborhood changed hands when the owner decided to retire after decades of serving our community's auto repair needs. This process led to the discovery of a need to rezone the property, and the owners held a public meeting to discuss this with the neighbors on August 18th at the Northeast branch of the Kesey Public Library. It was a healthy discussion where the new ownership explained their deep connections to our neighborhood, and neighbors shares their expectations for this business going forward. After the discussion, Indian Mound Neighborhood Association held a board vote, which passed unanimously to support the rezoning of this property to B3-1 commercial use along the corridor of St. John Avenue. This zoning will allow for a well-respected auto shop to continue to serve our repair needs as a dense working-class neighborhood whose residents often have to drive to high-paying jobs. It will also permit a much wider array of businesses to operate there in the decades to come. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay. Thank you.
Question, I'm not seeing it on Compass.
It should be in there. It says Craig's Auto Service Letter of Support is the name of it.
Seeing three, I see the staff report, CPC legal, and then the affidavit.
Let me double.
Well,
check
as
here.
they're looking for that, could you tell me who signed it?
Yeah, I want to
that
know who
letter?
signed that.
Oh, it's from Jimmy Fitzner, the president of Indian Mound. And
Thank you.
I also have something to add. So, the business has always been this way, an auto repair shop. And for some reason now the city, they're, trying to revoke it. I mean, during the 38 years when he's there, the city came out to do excavation repairs and stuff. How come at that time they did not know that it was in violation? Why wait to now? And now it's gonna like be a burden for the new owner. He doesn't have any use for it. They can revert back to like a gas station. They can't move forward with an auto repair shop. So what can they do with that property?
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if staff wants to answer that or not.
What
Or
they
I
can
can.
do with the property?
Well, I think the question is why are we looking at it now when
Yeah.
there are some improvements way back, a few years ago and
It's-
not brought up at that time?
Yeah, it's been 38 years.
Yeah.
If I may, Commissioner, in December 17th, 1982 is when the CLN was adopted and accepted. It specifically stated that this certificate of legal nonconformance should be issued for a service station. That's what it was issued for. What it is now was unlawfully converted. There were no permits issued. There was nothing brought before any boards or anyone for the conversion.
Okay. So the work was done without permits,
Correct.
is the concern.
Yeah, but
Back to-
every year he has to renew his business license. How come it wasn't caught? Because he always renewed the business license as a gas station, a convenience store, but obviously it's a repair shop. The city has come there multiple times to do investigation when they have other things going on with the signage, or they have other investigation going on, but at no point did they, come out and say that it's in violation.
Okay.
So
Let's kind of look at and focus on what's it going to be like from this point forward. I mean, are you making any improvements to the site? Or any improvements or signage or anything else being planned for this particular site, or just renewing a business license with somebody new?
Yeah, so they're just gonna keep it that way, right? Yes, they're just, they're not doing any changes to it, but they're going to comply with the city to bring it up to code. Do landscaping, put screenings around the area.
yeah, so if the rezoning were to be approved, this use type still requires a special use permit, so they would go through the special use permit process afterwards, so we can ensure that it meets city standards.
Okay. Any other questions for applicant or city staff? Commissioner Lynch, anything?
No, sir.
All right, so at this time, let's open it up for any public testimony. If there's anybody out there that would like to speak regarding docket items 7.1 or 7.2, please come forward or raise your hand using the Zoom feature and you'll be called upon.
We do have some hands raised online, and so I've promoted Jean Van Boeven-Shook and Andrew Manto to panelist.
Like the
If you would both turn on your cameras and microphones.
Hi, good
Andrew?
morning. As you start speaking, please say your name and address for the record.
Jean, you're on mute.
My name is Jean Van Boeven-Shook and my address is 136 Kensington. And I just wanted to say, in order to, if you are intending to keep this as residential urban low density, I don't understand any likely scenario where that will occur. That anybody would be motivated to, say, build a house here or whatnot. I think what would, if you deny the use of this property as an auto shop, I think what's going to happen is businesses that, or people will move into that space that's detrimental to the neighborhood. There's no gain to the public by denying this. So this property in the 1940s, it was a Sinclair station. The 1940s tax assessment photo shows that. Since at least 1988, it's been an auto body shop, and the applicant used the term well respected, and it was very, very well respected. Many neighbors use that shop. They liked being able to walk over. So essentially, since at least the 1940s, this has served the auto and transportation needs of the residents in the blocks surrounding it. We don't want to see something nefarious or detrimental or blighted move into that space. There is no change in use to have this continue on as an auto shop. We personally, our family has used it for 30 years. And that's what people are used to. That's what people need. To say that something happened back in the 80s, with this illegal usage, it's been lifetimes for some of us sitting in this room. And there's no change in usage to continue it as an auto shop. It's well respected and well used in that use.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Andrew Manto?
Yeah, hi, my name's Andrew Manto, address 4315 St. John Avenue, directly across the street from the property in question. I'd just like to voice my opposition to the approval of this amendment. I think while I agree that the property has functioned as an auto repair facility for very many years, I think the key is the well-respected component of that business is now no longer with the business. My concern is with the ownership of this property and other properties that this owner owns along St. John Avenue as being not great businesses for the neighborhood. They are in a dull, rundown condition. Magnets for trouble. In fact, another business on Monroe and St. John, about a half mile down the street. It's a homicide earlier there this summer. And so while I think the idea of not opposed to the idea of an auto repair shop at this property, I'm very concerned with this particular owner taking ownership of this property and what it means to the well-respected tradition of the previous business that was located at that location.
Okay. Still opposed to it. I mean, seems like it's part one of several projects. So they're trying to get the rezone and then they want to do improvements to the site. And so if they do improve it, you're still opposed to it?
Is that addressed to me, or is that to the?
Yeah, that's addressed to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm very open to working with the ownership. I think, yeah, certainly. Okay. I'm not opposed. This is not we actually enjoyed having the previous owner there and the eyes on the street that it brought. So certainly open to working with the owner to improve the condition of the property and bring it up to standards that I think would make the neighborhood proud moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Can I mention that,
Not yet.
Okay.
We're going to let the public speak first.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you. Go ahead. Is there anybody else?
There are no other hands raised online.
Okay. So at this time, we'll close public testimony. Now you may kind of discuss some of the comments brought up.
Okay, when he mentioned about other businesses bringing, negative attention, negative things going on, those are the other business or liquor shops, so it's kind of unrelated to the repair shop. And, those things that happen outside of a liquor store, it's beyond the owner's control, so.
Okay.
I would disagree with that. I think there's a lot of environmental
Okay, thank you,
design
sir.
aspects that.
Sir, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you'd like to discuss on this? All right. So at this time, we'd like to close testimony, speak amongst the commission, and then make a motion after that. Any comments from anybody here? Right now, the staff is recommending denial of this application.
Yeah, my perspective of this project is the staff recommendation makes sense based on what the staff is tasked to do. And then based upon hearing from the neighborhood, there's a pretty, full-throated endorsement from the neighborhood association. I think with active neighborhood associations, we always try to understand that a neighborhood association has a greater understanding on a, smaller basis than an area plan might. And so I'm supportive of it just based upon that. And then in terms of future land use and the context of the neighborhood and the street, I think it's a great spot to have that type of use on the corner lot. I do think it's contextual to the rest of the street, so I'm supportive of it.
Yeah, I'm in agreement to that too. And I'll add, I feel like neighborhood, auto repair stations are a little underrated because I think that so often what happens, especially in suburban contexts, is they get placed in commercial or industrial areas. And then when you have to go take your vehicle for repair all day, you're now without a vehicle. And so the nice thing about having a vehicle repair shop within a neighborhood is you can walk home. You don't have to have your vehicle to get you back to where you go and then potentially to your job or wherever else. So yeah, I think that this would be a really good use to maintain in the neighborhood. And I think that's, to Kobe's point too, that, kind of looking at this moving forward, I think is the correct approach to this. So I'll be supportive.
Commissioner Beasley, I know you got something. I know.
I don't know that I clearly heard what types of improvements the new owner plans on making if we grant this rezoning.
So, after the rezoning, so they would need a special use permit, so they would work with staff. Um, sorry, they would need a landscaping plan, getting permits for all those buildings on there. Clean up, some cars are parked on the sidewalk, so clean that up, have like a flow plan of like where the cars are gonna be parked, where they're going in and out, in the bays and all of that, so they, and then it would, obviously you would see that, those plans come in front of you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, I just have a question. It's so with the new owner, does he has any experience in a car shop?
They do also have another car shop, right?
Yes.
On Truman
I
Road?
have experience and I have a couple mechanics. What else better for the neighborhood? We're gonna be clean up and we're gonna be remodel. Everything is, we're gonna keep clean and nice neighborhood. So I always supported the neighborhood.
Okay. I was just wondering because obviously for 40 years the previous owner was running his business and the city didn't cut it, right? But now with a new owner, also I feel like not his fault for what happened, for the city not catching up before. So I support the business in the neighborhood. And are we gonna see it again? Like, are we gonna see once the plans submit?
Yeah, once they submit for the special use permit, they'll be brought before you. And
Right.
I'll be here again.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Got any comments? Okay,
Clarify one thing.
yes, ma'am.
So you the owner, or are you the new leaser to run the?
I'm the owner, yes.
And you will be running the mechanic shop, or are you gonna lease it to someone
I'm
else?
gonna lease it. I have 3 mechanics. They are used to work there already theirs. When previous owner left, and they're gonna taking over.
So previous mechanics will be there running it as leaseors, okay?
Yes.
Okay, take a motion, please.
Chair Crowley, move to approve, or recommend approval for docket item. Well, actually, sorry, before I do that, is there anything that, since the staff report's written as denial, were there any other things that we needed to add or conditions or?
No conditions
Okay.
for this.
Thanks. Chair Crowley, move to recommend approval of docket items 7.1 and 7.2.
Second.
Okay, just to make sure that's for the approval to get the rezoning, correct, instead of denying the project?
Correct.
Okay. Mhm.
Arkin,
Aye.
Beasley,
Aye.
Crowell,
Aye.
Enders,
Aye.
Forbes,
Aye.
Hasek,
Aye.
Lynch,
Aye.
Padilla.
All right.
Okay, so it looks like the commission supports the approval of the project, not the denial. So thank you and good luck moving forward.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
Yep. We'll see you when you come back.
Thanks.
All right, let's move on to docket number 8.
Docket number 8 is case CD CPC 2025-103, a request to approve text amendments to Chapter 88 Zoning and Development Code in Section 88-354 regarding marijuana hospitality businesses. You're getting another presentation from me today.
That's good, because you're familiar with us.
Okay, let me share my screen. Oh, Alec, what did I do? Oh, there it is. Okay. These are text amendments related to marijuana lounges. This is not a use that you see today in the zoning ordinance. And there are actually two parts to this. But first, what do we mean by marijuana lounges? This is a definition that will actually be in Chapter 11 of the Municipal Code. A marijuana lounge is an establishment licensed by the city that includes a consumption area where individuals would be permitted to consume marijuana. There are actually two parts to this. There would be a new Chapter 11 in the Municipal Code that would contain that definition with a licensing system, application processes, inspections. That's not before you today. That would be going to the City Council in companion with these text amendments to Chapter 88 to establish how we treat this as a use category and to include separation requirements. So I'm presenting to you just on the Chapter 88 text amendments. Our existing zoning and development code has one section in the 300 series, 354 about marijuana facilities, but we also classify all of these marijuana uses in use categories based on what's actually happening at the business. So dispensaries are considered retail sales. Marijuana infused products manufacturing is considered manufacturing, production, and industrial services limited, and marijuana cultivation is considered crop agriculture. So these text amendments would create a new section under 354, 354.1, specifically for marijuana lounges, and we would classify marijuana lounges as part of taverns or nightclubs. So the text amendments add a reference to marijuana lounges in the definition of tavern and nightclub as a use category. We are also adding separation requirements. The existing section 354 has separation requirements for marijuana facilities from schools, churches and daycares, and then separation between marijuana dispensary facilities, 1,000 feet from schools, 300 feet from churches and daycares, and 2,000 feet separation requirement between dispensary facilities. Marijuana lounges would be required to be 500 feet from schools, 500 feet from churches and daycares. There's no separation distance from marijuana dispensary facilities, but I'll note in a minute that they may not be co-located. There are some additional location restrictions included in the new section 354.1 that marijuana lounges may not be located at the licensed premises of another marijuana business license or a business that is licensed by the state containing cultivation, infused products manufacturing, dispensaries, testing facilities, or other businesses. And no marijuana lounge may be located on public property. So staff recommends approval of these text amendments. This would go before City Council, as I mentioned, with the amendments to create the new Chapter 11. I do not know when those will be introduced. They have not been yet, but the intention is for these to then progress in companionship to the City Council for approval. I'll do my best to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, any questions for city staff?
I'll
What-
start you off.
Yeah, why the difference between the other the separation? Like, why is this one less?
These will be introduced by Councilmember Rogers, and that was his preference as a starting point, is to have them, have less of a separation distance.
So in essence, just so I understand, part of this and then the other chapter that's being reviewed and looked at, I mean, eventually we're getting to a point where you could go to Nick and Jake's, let's say, and not only sit at the bar to have alcohol, but then you could also have marijuana at the same place.
Yes, if they were licensed as a marijuana lounge by the city. This would create a new business opportunity for businesses in the city.
That they could have both. Yeah. Okay.
But whoever has a license as a tavern won't get.
You would have to get a separate marijuana lounge business license or separate license to operate as a marijuana lounge. We would treat them from a zoning perspective as a tavern or nightclub. So presumably you could be a tavern or nightclub and be a marijuana lounge. That's not, you could be just a tavern or nightclub, a bar that did not have a marijuana lounge license.
So my question is, has Regulated Industries made any comments on this?
I do not know if they've made any comments on this. Our staff has only been involved in the Chapter 88 text amendments. We have not been involved in Chapter 11, which would be the other part of this for the licensing.
Right. I mean, Regulated Industries is working on the Chapter 11 portion. I know that the attorney has shared the Chapter 88 provisions with Regulated Industries as well. I didn't receive feedback, though, from Regulated Industries on the Chapter 88 portion.
I'm a bit conflicted here. I do serve on the advisory board for Regulated Industries. So when I first saw this, I'm like, Lord help us.
And I just wanted to say, because I had a question in my mind as to whether the marijuana lounges would allow alcohol. And so I just pulled up the version because I thought that was actually not allowed under, and that wouldn't be, that's not part of Chapter 88. So that's not, that's not Sarah's, I'm not criticizing Sarah for being unaware of that, but I pulled up the draft
Of Chapter 11.
of Chapter 11, and it does say a marijuana lounge licensee shall not allow the consumption of alcohol or tobacco products on the premises. So this isn't either or, it appears. At least on the draft. This is just a draft. It hasn't been introduced
Does
yet.
it specify indoor versus outdoor consumption?
I'm conflicted on this too, because I'd kind of like to see how this parallels with the other chapter, frankly.
Yes, it says it allows smoking in the indoor and outdoor areas of the licensed premises. So I think the license would control, right, whether it was allowed, say, on a patio or what have you.
So how does that tie into the city ordinance of no smoking in certain establishments?
This would be an exception to that.
Yeah, it seems like it allows smoking. If you're gonna allow marijuana to smoke, why not regular
But yeah,
Yeah,
cigarettes? I don't know.
I don't think this is what's happening, but you could also allow for consumption that's not smoking. So
Right,
it could be
exactly.
things that are
Yep.
consumed.
Sure.
So,
edibles and stuff.
so in theory, you wouldn't then be running into, so, I mean, there are ways that you could go to a non-smoking zone and still permit people to consume marijuana.
Well, they can consume it now and you don't know they're consuming it if it's edible.
Sure.
True. Yeah.
So nothing from the police department as well? On the 11 side, because you said this is just text amendments. So
Right,
the
I
11
can't
side,
speak
we
to
don't
Chapter
know
11.
what's going on over there either.
I personally, I just don't know the answer to that.
So I guess it's not a guess, I'm confused as to how we can actually make text amendments when we haven't seen how those would be regulated.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my answer to that would be, the question, so whether or not the city is going to authorize this with the Chapter 11 provision is really beyond the jurisdiction of, that's really not a land use issue. The land use issue is if the city is going to allow it, where would the city allow it? And so that's what this provision addresses. It would be treated like a bar or tavern. That's the policy choice that's been made by the sponsor regarding location. But the question of whether the city is going to adopt a licensing program to allow this, that's not within the jurisdiction of the City Plan Commission. That's for the city council to decide.
Yeah, my twirling, yeah.
I mean, I completely understand why you're raising those, I completely understand that, but.
Yeah,
But that choice is going to be made by the city council without recommendation by the City Plan Commission.
I just want to make sure I have a good understanding. So these facilities could be 500 feet from a school. Is that correct?
Yes, under the draft, yes.
Okay. Is there any concerns from anybody else about it being so close? I mean, you could have a preschool or an elementary school and they can be outside smoking. I'm not too sure how close you have to be to marijuana to get a contact high, but I don't know. That's a concern of mine.
Yeah,
that's one.
500 feet seems fine to me, but yeah, I think in general, I'm fine with the text amendment. Typically, with something like this, to try to use an analogy, if I'm trying to think of like another noxious use, let's say gas station, for example, like we know what a gas station looks like, how it operates, et cetera. And so we know that modern day gas stations don't leak gasoline all over every time you fill up a car. If, however, that were the case, that you did leak, half a gallon of gasoline every time you filled up your car, we might have a different decision to make about how close it is to other uses. And so I do get a sense for understanding what's going to be in Chapter 11 first. Bars, taverns, for example, because we know that you can't serve liquor or stay open past a certain time at night, we feel comfortable saying we can put it in this area, not in this area. Sound ordinance as well. If, for example, other chapters were changed so that you could be, event venues could be even louder, stay open even later, that could change how we would want Chapter 88 to look, because we'd want to put them further away from things if they happen to be noisier, have greater externalities to those around them, et cetera. So fully understand that portion of it. But based upon how simple and straightforward the text amendments are, I mean, I'm okay with it personally, but fully understand if other commissioners don't want to make any decisions yet.
Anybody else? Frankly, from my standpoint, I'm not ready to make a decision on this till I can kind of see what Chapter 11 at least looks like, the draft of it, just to see some parallel items within there to make sure that we're kind of in sync with the two chapters, the addition and that. So from my standpoint, I'd just like to wait until we take a look at this. But I'm just one person here on that.
Do we want to open up for public testimony?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we'll, if we did decide to continue, we'll do that again as well down the road. So any other comments from commissioners? Commissioner Lynch, any comments? Your thoughts?
Nothing you haven't already articulated, Kobe.
Okay. Thank you. So at this time, let's open it up for public testimony. If there's anybody out there that would like to speak regarding docket item number 8, please come forward or raise your hand using the Zoom feature and you'll be called upon.
There are no hands raised online.
Okay, we made the attempt. We'll close public testimony then. Not sure what everybody wants to do at this point in time. I mean, it sounds like we got one recommendation for approval and another one for continuance, but I'll take a motion if somebody dares to choose.
What's the timeline of Chapter 11 work?
I believe the sponsor, Councilman Rogers, wanted to move forward as soon as possible. So I think as early as next week, that, they don't meet this week, is a possibility.
So both are being pursued at the same time,
Yes.
and presumably, then therefore we could, if we had
See a
access
draft.
to it, we could see what it looks like right now.
It has not
It
been
hasn't been
introduced.
introduced. Yeah. I was just looking at a draft. I was pretty certain that there was a provision that didn't allow alcohol. So that's why I wanted to address that. But
Could we potentially take a 10-minute break and see if Councilman Rogers wants to email it over?
certainly ask if we can reach him. I mean, since they're not meeting this week, I don't know that we'll reach him, but I mean, we can certainly try that. Or even ask if he wants to join.
So I think I'm confused. Chapter 11 is being worked on, so it's still a draft?
Correct. This is a new program. And so the plan was to proceed with these code amendments contemporaneously.
And I'm sure there's some reasons why they kind of want to move forward with this because we got a
Sure it is.
little event coming up next summer. Some people might be interested in that there might be opportunities as part of that. So to get it in place. Maybe it sounds like we might be able to get a draft before the next meeting on the, was it 17th?
17th.
I'd feel better knowing that issues that could arise have been addressed in chapter 11 before we say, okay, let's do this with our text amendment to 88. Am I keeping my numbers straight?
I'll take a motion.
Make a motion that docket item number 8, the 2025-103 be held till our next scheduled CPC meeting with anticipations of more information from the chapter 11 side.
Second.
So I got a motion and a second to continue docket item number 8 in an attempt to get a draft of the proposed chapter 11. So it'll be what, September 17th is the actual meeting without fee. And I have a motion and a second for that. Sorry to interrupt.
Arkin,
Aye.
Beasley,
Aye.
Crowell,
Aye.
Enders.
Aye.
Forbes,
Aye.
Hasek,
Aye.
Lynch,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Okay, looks like that motion passes. Thank you. All right, let's move on to our last item of the day, number 9, please.
Docket item number 9 is case CD CPC 2025-120, a request to approve a major amendment to previously approved development plan to change permitted uses in District B3-2 on about 24 acres generally located at the north and south sides of Washington Street at the intersection of West 135th Street and Washington Street.
Are you staying for this one? Oh, yeah, I need to recuse.
All right, good morning, commissioners. As stated, the docket item in front of you is a major amendment for 13601 Washington Street. Site is generally located in the very southern portion of Kansas City. And here is the site outlined in yellow. It's a pretty typical commercial development that we see all over. There's a handful of pad sites along West 135th Street, and then a continuous building with previously multiple tenant spaces in the center of the site. And the last amendment to this plan was done in 2018 for this southern building to allow for a self-storage facility. So the amendment proposed today is really just cleaning up this plan, as we see very often on older development plans, that each tenant site is very specifically labeled for a specific tenant or a specific use. And as the market changes and different tenants come in, they're very restricted. And so that's what happened with this property. And so the applicants have come in and are requesting to amend the plan. This property is in a B3 zoning district, so they are requesting to amend the plan to allow all uses in the B3 district rather than specifying really retail and restaurant was only allowed here before. With a couple of exceptions, there are a few prohibited uses such as heavy equipment, sales and rental, vehicle sales and rental, the types of uses you wouldn't typically find in a standard kind of strip shopping area. And then as well as calling out lot 5. Like I mentioned, that was part of a previous amendment. That lot specifically is zoned B4 and allows self-storage, which is not allowed a use in B3. So we're just calling out that site that the use is allowed, not to create any nonconformities, as well as lot 2, which is an existing general auto repair service. It's a Firestone. So again, creating flexibility, not creating any nonconformities for this commercial area. That's really the extent of the amendment. There's a few street views. They're very out of date. I know there's been quite a bit of work done to this area. This is the far south where the storage building was put in. And staff is recommending approval with conditions. I can take any questions, and also the applicants have some more specific information about the future uses of this area.
Thanks. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, we'll welcome the applicant.
I will speak. I believe Gabe Tovar, agent of ownership, is also present and will be speaking.
Thank you, Avery. Just a little bit of background on the center and kind of our uses here for the property as Genevieve set up for us. We just wanted to emphasize here that this center was developed in the early 2000s, and with that, there were development plan that restricted the uses primarily to retail and restaurant within the strip shopping center, and that center was foreclosed on in 2009. And so over the past decade, this center has hovered around 60% occupancy. And in 2022, the new owners subdivided the property into commercial condos, and that's when we, HKC Property Holdings, started acquiring portions of the property. So really relative to our application, we just wanted to give some background that we now own units 1 through 5, and that is the northern side of the shopping center. And I'll pull up an image here on the screen. It shows units and what we've as the current uses and the potential uses, and units 2 through 5 are currently vacant, and that totals close to 70,000 square feet. And we're working through design plans and conversations, which would or could ultimately lead the center back to 100% occupancy. But in order to take that next step, we need to lift that use restriction that's currently in place for retail and restaurant. And that's what we're asking for today. So we're excited for the opportunity and welcome any questions.
Great. Anything else from the applicant? Okay. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, we will open it up for public testimony.
There are no hands raised online.
All right, closing public testimony. Anything else you all would like to add? All right, I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve docket item number 9 with conditions stated.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve docket item number 9 with conditions stated. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Who was the second?
What? I seconded.
Okay.
Any abstentions? All right, it passes. Good luck with the project.
Well, thank you very much, committee.
That's a record.
Mm.
That's a record.
Yep. I said we had a record going on here.
Thank you very much.
All right. That's it, huh?
That's it. I did want to make one other note. You all continued docket item number 10. That's the text amendments to Chapter 88 related to large format uses, which we've spoken with you all about. I just wanted to note that was continued to October 1st. We will have an updated version of the proposed text amendments posted on the city's Speakeasy platform by the end of this week. And just if you all were interested in looking at those, where we are with that, that'll be posted by Friday. and just wanted to let you all know. We've been working a lot with stakeholders and want to make sure people are aware that they're available for review before that comes back on October 1st.
All right, thank you. Anything else to come before the commission? I have to admit, our new member has probably made our meeting go pretty quick today. All right, so with that, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, thank you,
Second
everybody.
that.